started off with a question. Have you ever done something for somebody else and they didn't take notice? Me too. I've had that happen a few times. And it's not something that's fun, not something that you like to repeat, especially when you're trying to get someone's attention or that you hope that they're seeing the sacrifice or the labor of love that you're doing for them. I remember a time when I was in a church, and I remember working very much, doing a lot of different things in that church. I would travel 6 hours a day to volunteer, not get paid, right? And I was there serving as an intern, then became an assistant and associate pastor there. And one of the things that I remember very clearly was serving on some teams. And I remember I would come up with a bunch of different ideas, a bunch of different plans. I would do a lot of legwork. I would just put a lot of work and thought and ideas into things. And then I started to have people start to steal my ideas. Right? I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you, someone to steal your ideas at the workplace or somewhere else or at school, wherever you're at. But they stole my ideas. They would then steal some other things that I would do. They'd take credit for things that I did, for phone calls that I would make, reaching out that I did. And it got me really flustered. And all of a sudden, they began to get promoted over me, and I didn't quite understand what was going on. They were getting credit, and all of a sudden, people were talking about them, and I'm scratching my head thinking, I know the truth. This guy knows the truth. How is this happening? And I remember someone telling me a while ago that I was a bit naive. And this was, we're talking about 20, 25 years ago, right? And I remember someone telling me that, and that kind of bugged me. That bugged me a lot hearing that. However, I realized that I was naive in a good sense. And what I mean by that is that I was really trying to live a godly kind of lifestyle, and I didn't realize the business side of the world that crept into the church. I didn't realize how some of the things of the world started coming in. And to put it this way, I remember one time that the pastor of this church sent out an email to me, and I was just so thrilled to get this email because I was doing, again, so much work, and I was just trying to serve the Lord. I was trying to bless those that were around me, and that was my heart, that was my intention. But then when other people started to get credit, it hurt a bit of me. When they got credit for my work and the things that I had done, I didn't understand it. And so I remember getting this email. And in this email, the pastor put at the very bottom of it, Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10. It says, "For God is not unjust to forget your work and your labor of love, which you have shown toward his name, in that you have ministered to the saints and do minister." Now, I tell you what, when I got that email, oh my gosh, it was like taking a drink in the desert. It was so satisfying. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they do see the work that I'm doing. They do know the truth. They're not giving in to these lies that are happening right here. They do know what's really going on. And so that just made my morning when I got that email. And then all of a sudden, I saw another email out that went to a bunch of different pastors in the church. And I looked at it and I saw the same scripture. I'm thinking, oh, well, it felt a little less nice because now it was, given to all the pastors, which, okay. And then I saw another email and then I realized, oh no, this is just now the new frame they have in their email. This is what they're sending to every single person in every email they now have. This one has a signature at the bottom of the email. This was below the signature. At that time, this is one of the first times I ever saw that. And I'll tell you what, then my heart just sank even lower because I wrote back to that pastor and said, oh my gosh, you don't know how much that meant to me. And they wrote back, oh yeah, blessings, yada, yada, yada. And I'm thinking, oh, now I embarrassed myself even further to write that email. And so obviously that has a snowball effect. And that's when things started to kick in for me like, hey, something's wrong here. How is it that what I'm doing and everything's not getting noticed? Now, what I was doing was getting highly praised, but no one knew I was the one doing it. And so I began changing. And I changed in a bad way. I started learning the ways of the world. I started realizing how you had to start getting advanced in the ways of the world or things in business where you got to start speaking up and taking credit for some things, right? That's the mindset. When you do something, you talk about it real loud, and that's exactly what the Pharisees did as well.